You have entered the Chronic's rabbit hole. This is story time with ETC, episode number 5 with Tori Reacts. Everyone give her a applause.
Hi.
Thank you so much for coming on to the show. We really appreciate that. We actually have a lot of mutual friends. One of our mutual friends is Fritz.
Oh, yeah.
And he speaks very highly about you when I first started doing reaction channels, and a bunch of other people spoke very highly about you and wanted us to collaborate with you really right when we started. So it's really awesome to finally see you, get to talk to you, and now we're here, right?
Yeah, Fritz he's a sweetheart. He's been a follower of mine from the beginning, from when I started as well, and we've like connected and come like real life friends as well. He's not just a subscriber, you know, he's a friend, a dear friend, and he sends me, you know, we have each other's numbers on WhatsApp and we talk daily, and it's just it's a really nice relationship that we've got going. And but yeah, I thank you guys for having me on here as well. I truly appreciate it. You know, when you reached out, I was like, oh my goodness, yeah, of course. I'd love to come on and chat with you guys, because honestly, when you reached out, I hadn't like heard of you guys, because obviously the reactor scene is huge.
It's massive.
But when you did reach out, I did go back and I subscribed and I watched a few of your videos. So yeah, because I know you guys, I see the Epica shirt, I see the Linkin Park shirt, I see the Nightwish in the background. So yeah, we have a lot of the same tastes. So
we do. And that's why I think at the very beginning, when I was not struggling, but like was trying to find my feet, they're like, hey, check out Tori, because she's doing a lot of the similar stuff that you're doing and has the same passion. So that's awesome to hear. And also, we found out that you're called Taurians on your channel.
Yes, I call them my Taurians. When I first started, because you want to have like an overall group name for your subscribers. It's just an easier way to refer to them. So I gave them like a few options in like a poll on the community page, and that's what they went with. So yeah,
I like it.
Taurians. And then I'm a crazy cat lady. So of course the cat, that's like they're in. When I Twitch stream, we have like the Tori cat coins that they can collect and things like that.
Oh, cool.
Love that.
And we have questions about the Twitch and all that too, because it's really interesting what you're doing there. But what we want to start with is finding out kind of about your past a little bit to try to bring you up to when you started YouTube. So you were born in England, Great Britain?
I was, yeah.
And how long did you live there? You're born and raised there, and then you moved to America.
Yeah, so I was born and raised there. I was born in an area called Preston, which is in like a county of Lancashire. It's like up in the northwest.
Okay.
It's just above Wales, like close to Scotland area. So it's pretty far up north. I don't sound like that anymore because I've been over here too long.
Right.
But you know, my accent is very mixed. I get a lot of comments on it that like I can't place your accent. Where is it from? I'm just like, I call it Britican because it's British and American smushed together.
It is.
You know, I'm with my husband 24/7, but you get me on a call with my sister, or I go home for a couple of days, my Lancashire accent starts coming back. But yeah, I grew up there. I lived there up until I was 23, and that's when I met my husband. We met online, just in some random chat. We both weren't looking for anything. We were just friends in the beginning, and then of course that built into something else. So you know, he kind of asked, he was like, we should really see if what we have online is something that would be reciprocated in real life. So he offered to pay for the flight for me to fly out to North Carolina, which is where he lives. And so I took the leap, because we only live once. You just never know what's going to happen. And
that leap of faith.
Yeah, I didn't want to, like, I'm one of those people. I don't want to spend my days thinking, what if? You know, I want to take that leap, and I want to. A lot of people like, you were brave. You know, who knows what he could have been a murderer. You don't know. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. I met her online.
We met each other online, and it's always that, like, you know, he could be a murderer, but you also get a trip. So right, you know. And
it's like, even if it hadn't have worked out romantically, we still could have probably still remained friends. And I that was my first time flying anywhere solo as well. Was to the US, and it was 3 flights altogether at that time. Which was scary, but he even sat down with my parents and Skyped with them, gave them all of his information and things like that, so they knew like where I was going. My mom in true British form was like, if anything happens to my daughter, I'm gonna come over there and kill you, you know. But
yeah,
you'd hope so.
I appreciate as a mother, that,
yeah. And I know your mother means so much to you, so that must have meant a lot for you when your husband did reach out and made sure that was okay.
Yeah, my mom is like, she's one of my best friends. I'm very lucky to have a really good relationship with her that way. She actually did come over about a month ago, I think it's been now, and she spent like 3 weeks with me here. So yeah, but
you made some content with her too, right?
Yeah, well, she agreed to come on a Twitch stream for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow. That's big,
she was very nervous about it, but once she got into it, you know, because it's hard. People think it's easy to sit here in front of a camera and act like the camera is your audience, but it's so hard.
It is.
And
it is.
Even to this day, I film a reaction and I'm like, is that good enough? You know, I'm always talking down on myself, and I'm always like, wow, should I put this out? And I do anyway, because I don't want to listen to a song again, because then it's not going to be a first time genuine reaction, is it? So
no, I hear you.
But yeah, back to my past. So I grew up there and then moved here when I was 23, and I've been here ever since. We moved to North Carolina in 2012, like about July time, I think it was. Then we got married. We had like, have you ever seen like 90 Day Fiance or like heard anything about it?
I have, yes.
Yeah. So it's pretty much like that, but we kind of found a loophole, if you will. Like you're not supposed to do it this way, but we did. I flew over because in England we can come over to the USA for 90 days on a visa waiver program.
Yeah, same with Canada.
Yeah, so that's what I did. I came to visit, we got married, and then I submitted my paperwork, and while the paperwork was being processed, I could stay in the country. So that's how I ended up staying.
Okay.
Because I really didn't have anything back. Like my husband had the house, the secure job, you know, things like that. So it just made sense for me to move here rather than him to move over to there. So
that makes complete sense.
Yeah, that's how I ended up here. And he was here he's originally from Florida, but he was here in North Carolina. He works at one of the biggest army bases that the US has. I don't know if you've heard of it, Fort Bragg, although they just changed their name to Fort Liberty the last couple of days. Well, last couple of weeks. Well, it's because Bragg was a Confederate soldier, so that's why they changed the name.
Right, I see.
So they changed it to Liberty, which makes makes perfect sense, but it's costing the government a lot of money to do that.
A lot of money.
But yeah, that's how I ended up in the USA.
Wow, that's incredible. I've been to England myself. I've been to London and a bunch of places like that. I've never been to London. Never. Oh, you've never been to London?
I've been to the airport, but I've never, because for people in England, 30 minutes drive is a long way. You know,
fair enough. Yeah.
We're still in the same city, so like 30 minutes is just for me to go get groceries.
Yeah, it's the same here too.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. I've been to America as well. Something I kind of wanted to ask about is, what do you feel is the biggest difference in culture for America compared to England? Because I know for me, I thought it was going to be very similar, but it's a lot more drastic over in England. You guys are a little bit more to the point, you know?
Yeah, but a lot of people don't seem to get our dry sense of humor. It's very sarcastic. It's very to the point, and it can come off as harsh sometimes. I think Americans, once you get out of the touristy areas, like the true, genuine America, are much friendlier, much warmer people. It took me, like, even just walking into the mall and into a store, it took me a long time to have people saying, hey, welcome in, how are you? And you don't get that in England. You walk in, they're just like,
they're just doing the business.
Ignore you, right? They're just doing their job. And like when you ask for help, it's like, really, you know? But here it's just that. And also I'm also in the south, so there is that southern hospitality that goes along with it that I'm sure you've heard a lot about. So go ahead.
Just with southern hospitality, I have a grandfather who lives down in Alabama, so I understand a lot of that.
Yeah, so that's the biggest difference, I think, for me. It's just Brits can tend to be a bit standoffish. until you get to know them, we're very, I wouldn't say cold, because it's hard to describe.
You just don't sugarcoat it.
Right, we don't sugarcoat things. Americans are genuinely louder as people anyway. We're very more conservative in being quiet. So like if you have me and my husband in the same room, he's the one that's going to be and I'm just sat there listening until something comes up, and then I'll say something. So
so you're more reserved and he's not, but yet you're the social media person and he isn't.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird how it works?
Yeah. And it did take me a long time to get comfortable doing this. I'm sure you've gone back and watched like my first reactions, and it's just the change over the 3 years that I've been doing this has been crazy, and it's really helped build my confidence levels as well, because I'm not a shy person. I always say this. I'm a very quiet person. I like to listen, and I like to get to know people. Yeah. And I find it very hard to come up with small talk a lot of the times as well. So streaming and doing YouTube reactions and just focusing, because I've always been passionate about music anyway.
That's your lifeline.
Yeah. Like you saw it in like on my social media and stuff. I have that in my tags and stuff. And it's just, it is my lifeline. I don't go a day without listening to music. I always have this headset on when I'm at home. Even if I'm just sat on the couch or or doing chores around the house, I'm always listening to something. I hate the dead silence. I hate it. I have to have something on. So
well, that's fair. And something I also wanted to ask about is you leveled up to 35 this year. So congratulations on that. Does that mean you are now over a decade long with your husband?
Yeah.
Wow.
We'll celebrate 11 years next month. So
congratulations.
Thank you.
We're engaged, so we're trying to make it that way. So that's good encouragement for us.
How long have you guys been together?
It's a little over 2 years now.
Over 2 years.
Yeah. We met online and it just instantly clicked. But also we've had a lot of prejudice against us because we do have an age difference.
Oh, okay.
And it is a pretty big age difference. We have 17 years between us. So obviously at that time when we first met, I was 23 and he was 40.
Right.
So, and we, even to this day, we go out and especially when I don't have makeup on, I don't think I look my age anyway, but then when I don't have makeup on, I look even younger. So really? Then I go out, and then he's got very like salt and pepper hair, he went gray super early. So, when we go out, people sometimes have mistaken him for being my dad, and it's just that awkward conversation of like, oh no, he's my husband, and they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm like, no, it's okay, but we've had people just dirty looks, comments here and there, and I don't understand it, but that's the human race for you, and you just have to I've just learned to brush it off now. Same with YouTube comments that we get, it's
right.
When I first started with that, and they used to hurt a lot because I am quite a sensitive person as well.
Same.
And I take everything to heart. I wear my heart on my sleeve a lot. And
it looks like it.
Yes. Well, yeah. But a lot of those nasty comments, I used to like just get really upset, but now I'm just like, delete, or I'll just troll them back. So yeah.
I have a question for you with your comments. So comments really get to me a lot more than they get to Kyle. And so I just don't comment because I can be very petty and sassy with a lot of the negative comments. How have you grown and dealt with that over the last 3 years with making correct comebacks or sass or things like that, so you're not putting a negative spin on your own channel because it is your business?
Yeah, right. And you have to be very careful about it. In the beginning, honestly, I just used to delete it and ignore it.
Right.
Now it depends what kind of mood I'm in. If I find myself just not wanting to deal with it, I'll just delete it and block them from my channel. If they don't appreciate my content, then they don't need to be here. They don't need to see it.
Absolutely.
No kidding.
But then recently I reacted to Cannibal Corpse. I don't know if not Cannibal Corpse. Something decapitation. I can't remember what they're called.
Cattle decapitation.
Yes. Cattle decapitation. It was my first ever reaction to them. Obviously, I don't look very metal. I don't present myself in that way. And at that time I had like a really nice pretty sundress on and like my makeup and all that, and I got a comment like from a male, you know, saying you are not worthy to review this band. And I was like, what does that even mean?
What does that mean?
I just commented back. I was like, how is that gatekeeping going for you? And that I left it at that.
Nice.
And everybody's just liked my comments, so that just backs me up on that. And I do find within the metal community, as with anywhere, honestly, you get those gatekeepers anywhere. There's going to be people who are gonna talk down on you no matter what, and think that they're better than you just because you're female or just because you don't present a certain way of looking, you know. So yeah, it just depends what kind of mood I'm in. If I'm feeling sassy that day, or if I just don't want to deal with it, then I'll go off, or I'll just talk to my close friends about it and say, hey, I got this comment, how would you reply to it, and get their spin on it.
Smart.
And just and go that way. So
we always say monetize the haters.
Yeah, that's our things. Monetize the haters.
Well, they don't realize that they're helping your algorithm by commenting. So
absolutely.
So good job, gatekeepers.
Good job. Keep gatekeeping me, because you're just pushing my video up.
keep being that keyboard warrior, you know. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing a lot of your past, because I know you said at the beginning you didn't want to share too much about your husband as well. And as the years have gone by, I know you guys are more open, and he's come onto a live stream, and we know we're trying to help push you to 50K so he can come on again for another live stream. That's our goal. So we're going to try to help lift you up that way. And we might as well talk about the beginning of your YouTube career now. And that started in November 18th, 2019. So you've been going for, I guess, almost 4 years now, which is incredible.
Coming close. It doesn't feel like that.
No, I bet. Did you start with reactions, or I couldn't find anything other than reactions on your channel?
Yeah, I started with reactions, and the only reason I started with reactions is because I found reactions maybe like a year or two prior to that.
Oh, nice, thank you.
And obviously reactions to like Nightwish and Epica are this for my favorite band. I can't choose between them both because they both mean so much to me.
Wow.
So then I found it just randomly came up on my recommended that somebody was reacting to Ghost Love Score. I have Ghost Love Score tattoos, literally like lyrics tattooed on my back. And so that song, ever since I first heard it on the Once album in 2004 when I was 16, just has been my favorite song, period.
Wow.
Whatever songs come out, nothing's ever topped it for me. That it's just my favorite because it's got all the elements that I love about music in it. It's got the metal, it's got the operatic voice from Tauri. I also love Floor's rendition of it too.
Right.
And then of course you've got the big orchestral piece and that really nice piece in the middle that just transports you to another world. And people have said it sounds like Pirates of the Caribbean, or like for me it just transports me to like an enchanted forest, and I feel like I'm like a fairy or something, you know. So
absolutely.
I found reactions, and I've always had a passion for music, and we always get stuck in this rut of listening to the same bands. So I figured that for doing reactions, it would be a great way for me to branch out and have a community, hopefully a community that I would build, you know, tell me that they'd like me to react to this or this or this. And now I'm in the position of it's crazy that bands are reaching out to me and saying, hey, we'd love you to react to this or do this for us. And I've made relationships with record labels, and they send me stuff now too. And it's crazy that it's come this far. Crazy. And so that's how it started. I started literally on my laptop webcam. I had it tiny in the corner, as you've seen. Like I did that first Nightwish reaction. Of course I'd heard the song before, but it was one that was sung by Floor, but it was a Tori song. But I
Slaying the Dreamer.
Yeah, that I hadn't heard Floor do yet. So I was like, I know Nightwish, like not to latch onto the views, but I know Nightwish does get views, and of course that's going to push my channel out there for people to see.
Smart choice.
So then after that, any comment that I got, I would write down and I would try and do. But of course, as the channel gets bigger, it's impossible to keep up with it. There's just no way to do it.
It just funnels down and down, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's just, it gets overwhelming at times, especially when there's new stuff coming out all the time. So yeah, just that's one piece of advice if that I could give to you guys. Just don't pressure yourselves too much to get to every single thing, because there's just no way you can do it. There's just absolutely no way you can do it. There's literally, there's two of you, there's one of me, and yeah, it's just not going to happen. Even if there was like 1,000 of you, it's just not going to happen.
No, you can't. There's too much music out there.
Yeah.
But like you said, there's something in the human soul that wants to make everyone happy. So
right.
I think a good question to ask then is, how do you now choose your next reaction? Because I know at the beginning, I also chose Nightwish at first, but then they all started funneling in, and then I had to make a decision. How am I going to pick the next one? And do I give people incentives to try to move up the line or something like that?
Well, now it's mostly due to like what I see most popping up in comments, or if like, again, like working with the record labels, if they, you know, sometimes they send me stuff early so I can get the reaction out on the same day that the video releases.
Nice.
So there's that aspect too. And then I also like to promote smaller bands, that like more up and coming bands that don't have a lot of followers and views and subscriptions. And if they reach out to me and like, hey, we love your style, we'd love for you, could you possibly do a reaction for us? And most of the time I'll say yes. It just depends how they approach me. Sometimes you can tell when it's just a generalized email that they've spammed out to everybody. But if they get more personal with it, then of course I'm going to they've taken the time to watch my channel and they appreciate what I do, so of course I'm going to take the time to check them out and hopefully push them out. You know, I'm not a huge channel. I'm getting close to 50K, but I'm, you know, I'm not like, of course I follow Orion and Nick Nocturnal and Tank and, you know, Metal Burb and people like that. I think they're wonderful people. So yeah.
Okay, it's so hard to pick, and I was always curious. We kind of went the Patreon route, and the buy me a coffee routes. And I know you don't like the smell of coffee, so maybe that's why you don't have a buy me a coffee or something. But did you ever consider going that route at all, or do you have anything like that where people can like help monetize you?
Yeah, so I did set up a Patreon first initially, and then I deleted it. I have a hard time thinking of like the different layers of things. Even now with my Twitch stream, with the little, you know, the little things you collect on Twitch, like when you watch
the bits.
Even now,
coins.
I call them my Tauris cat coins. Every different channel calls them something else. They're channel points initially. Yeah. And even now I've been streaming on Twitch for like 2 or 3 months. I moved over I used to stream on YouTube, but
it's actually January 30th.
Really? Has it been that long?
It's been that long, yeah.
Wow. But yeah, so I started on Twitch, and even now I've got affiliate and I can do that. I'm having a hard time thinking of the rewards for that because I'm not a salesperson at heart, if that makes sense. I don't like pushing things on people. I don't like I could never be a car salesman or like an MLM business or anything like that. I could never do it. I just don't have the personality for it.
That's fair.
So I have a hard time thinking of different levels. So I took my Patreon down, and now I do live stream. I live stream Monday and Fridays, and I think I have about 10 paid slots. People will pay $10 per song. Which I open 15 minutes before the stream starts, and then people will send their request in, and then once that list is full, then I'll close it off. And then during that we play a numbers game, which means that I say a number between, let's say 1 and 50, and then whoever gets the number wins a free slot for that stream. So it's just a little smart. Just a little thank you for being here and for supporting me. And then also for my mods, I rotate them a mod slot each week. And then my stream community wants me to have a slot. So a song that means something to me, or something that at the end of the stream, we have a Tori pick, and then we wrap it up. And it's about a 2-hour stream every Monday and Friday. So, but it's just a nice way to connect with, you know, your community and hang out with them and listen to music. And because of course, like I said, on your main channel, you're just not going to get to everything, and people want you to listen to what they love. And so I think doing it that way is a smart way to go. I have a spreadsheet that people can look at during the stream so they know what's coming. And so that's how we do it.
And what made you decide to say, because I noticed you used to do a lot of live streams on YouTube. I can't find any of those live streams anymore. And did you delete them? And then also, was it because of something that YouTube did with the live streams that made it difficult or to switch to Twitch?
Yes. So
okay.
I haven't deleted them. I still have my live streams. They're just not public because
or private, I guess.
Yeah. YouTube is very harsh with their copyright, and I've in the middle of a live stream they've come and shut it down for like 5 minutes.
We had that happen.
Yeah, for 5. Yeah.
So, and Twitch isn't like that. Twitch won't shut you down in the middle of streams. Twitch is also a bit more interactive with your community. Especially if you get affiliate, it's easy to do. You know, it's not a lot of work, and if you've already got a community on YouTube, because I was a bit worried about that. I was a bit worried that people wouldn't move with
Switch
me
over.
Right, but it was really easy. Everybody came with me. Everybody, we all learning at the same time, because I was brand new to Twitch. I'd never used it before.
Right.
So I was like, this is just going to be a learning curve for everybody, for me, my mods, and the community who haven't used Twitch in the past. And so yeah, I started building on there, and it's just because YouTube is a bit difficult with their copyright issues. That's the only reason. And with Twitch, they're called VODs at the end of the stream. So I don't publish those either, just so that I don't get flagged up on copyright.
Absolutely.
If people send a request and they're like, hey, could you film this one as a full reaction for your channel? I'll be like, sure. And I'll film it there and then in the live stream.
Oh, wow.
So,
okay.
Yeah. That's just how I've figured out how to like get content from my channel as well as hang out with the community, and they don't mind that I do it that way too. And sometimes I'll go a whole stream and I won't record anything. We'll just hang out and we'll just listen to some music together. It depends what they request and how old it is, and things like that. So
right. That's really smart, because we actually started on Twitch ourselves, and we used to like stream video games and all that. And then I actually did my first reaction while I was Twitch streaming. And then I just kind of went over to YouTube and figured all that out. But like you're saying with the live stuff, we wanted to start doing live streams more. And it sounds like from what you're saying that it's a really smart idea to get the Twitch going, because I'm already an affiliate on it, so I might as well take advantage of that.
Yeah. If you're already an affiliate, then I would definitely just use Twitch. I can even send you guys my spreadsheet and you can see how I do it that way. Because I think
that'd be amazing.
Like you can even add a few more slots. It just depends how much time you have. But for me, like 2 hours, my community know I have like lower back issues. They know I struggle with it, so they know like 3 hours is a bit long for me, just because it starts hurting. But 2 hours, and everybody we get like through 10 songs, and of course the free song, and then the mod slot, and then my song. So yeah, it's about 13 songs altogether, and it's just a great way to do it, I think. And it's a great way to also hang out with your community and not just talk to them in comments or on Discord or on Instagram. It's just it's just a really nice. I enjoy it. I really enjoy it. I'm like, whenever I have to cancel or whatever, I'm really bummed about it, but
yes,
it happens. You can't always stick to your schedule.
No, and you got to give them something to look forward to actually interact with you in real life. And the Taurians love you for that. I can promise you that. So what I also want to mention to you, because I find it awesome for you, is you have 4 songs that are over 100K. So congrats on that. That's amazing. And it's such a wide variety, where it's like Dimash, Kadai Bergen, Lara Fabian, Forestella, and Linkin Park. So that's really cool. We love Linkin Park. You also did a non-metal artist Mondays that I know you stopped eventually, but I just think you had so many good ideas while you've been growing your channel that it shows, because you have 4 songs that got over 100K that are such a wide variety. So it also tells us to maybe not box ourselves in with just symphonic metal and metal itself. And obviously there's people that are going to love you. And we just kind of want to know your history with Linkin Park and what got you into them, because that's our favorite band for sure.
It started when Hybrid Theory came out.
Oh yeah.
So
absolutely.
I was a teen. I was having a hard time at school, and like my parents had said they were going to get a divorce, and then they never did up until I was 24, I think it was.
Once you moved?
Yeah, they stuck together, and but it wasn't great.
Yeah.
So I had a very strained relationship with my dad, and to the point we would have yelling matches at each other. So I'd go up to my room and throw on that album, and it would just help calm me down a lot. Just because, especially like breaking the habit is a big one, just because it speaks on a lot of issues. Linkin Park are great at doing that. You know, they're great at delving into the darkness of everyday life. And that's what I love about them, and just Chester's vocals in general. He's just, when he passed away,
it's devastating.
We lost an amazing person that day, and it's still, even when I did that reaction to Lost,
oh my god. I started to watch it like with you, and I had to turn it off. I've only listened to it the one time on that reaction, and then I tried to watch yours with it, and I just couldn't do it because it's still that powerful. And like you said, he brings out the everyday pain that everyone's going through, that not everyone wants to express. And I never grew up with my father either, and I had like step parents growing up too, so that was my escape, was to scream, crawling, and all that, you know. So
and it was also at the time when cable TV still had like the music videos.
MTV.
MTV. And we had one, I'm sure you've heard of Kerrang, the magazine. They also had a music channel, so they would heavily play Linkin Park and things like that. So that's where I first heard Nightwish, I think, was on Kerrang, which was Nemo, and that's how I discovered Nightwish. But yeah, they've just been a great help for me throughout my entire like mid-teens to into my adulthood. And of course, like they're not my favorite band like they are yours, but it's just their lyrics are amazing, even with Lost. And that's what broke me, is just he's singing about what happened to him, and he's no longer here. And it's like, that's what got me, is because he was so lost. He just didn't feel like he could reach out or do anything other than do what he did. So that's why I'm such a huge advocate for mental health on my channel, or at least I try to be. So
speaking of mental health, and I've noticed that you have been able to allow yourself to take 2 weeks off, a month off at a time, even though that's extremely difficult because of the pressures we have to want to give the content for the Taurians or the Chronicans over here. And what gives you that? When do you know you need a mental break? One, and two, how has everyone received it when it's happened? And I know you're still growing even when you're having those mental breaks.
Well, honestly, I really haven't. So when I first started my channel, I only used to upload like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, just because of who I know I am as a person. As a child, and growing into like my teen, I would start things, and then I would get to a certain point and hit a brick wall, and then I'd stop and quit. So I didn't want to do that with my YouTube channel. So I was like, if I only do 3 days a week, then it's not going to be too much on me. And then as I grew and started getting into it more, I started, of course, now I release a video every single day. And I've never, the only time I've taken like the full 2 weeks off was for our honeymoon, which was this April.
Oh, okay.
Before that, I'd film enough content that I'd have something scheduled to come out on those days. But I wouldn't be at my computer. I'd still post it on social media, but it wouldn't feel like I'd necessarily have to be there, you know?
Yeah.
So, but with my honeymoon, because it was our honeymoon and we'd waited 10 years for it, I was like, I'm going to take this break. I've never taken like a full-on 2-week break away from my laptop. Or the camera or anything like that for the past 2-3 years. So I just want to focus on my husband and I, and we went to Rome, Italy, and for 10 days. But I took the 2 weeks off because my stepdaughter was here. She was pet sitting for us, so she came like a couple of days before we left, and then stayed a couple of days after, so we got to spend some time with her too before she flew back to Florida. But yeah, no, they were very accepting of it. They're even when if I wake up and I've got a migraine or I don't feel too good, of course, we women have our monthly visitors now and then, and we know how terrible those can be with cramps and all of that.
Yeah.
So if I wake up and I just don't have the social battery to stream, they understand. They're just like, it's okay, take the day, we'll see you on Friday or see you on Monday or whatever day. And they're very understanding about it. And that's what I love about my community. They never pressure me into anything. They never, they're never like on my back about anything. They're always very understanding, and yeah, I really appreciate them, and I appreciate them being here for me, because if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here.
No
Our
kidding,
channels
right?
wouldn't be here. Yeah.
Absolutely. And you also mentioned you have some animals. I've looked up, you have Binks and Mojo for your cats, and you also have Casa for your dog. And so are those your 3?
No, we have 5 altogether.
Oh,
wow.
Okay. What are the other 2?
So yeah, we have Binks is our youngest, Leo is our middle cat, and then Mojo is our oldest. Then we have Casa and Tiva. They're both of our dogs. And because my husband has like Native American ancestry, we decided to go with Native American names for the dogs. And
Amazing.
They're both like Hopi Indian names, and Casa literally means covered in furs.
Really?
I love that.
Yeah. and then I just thought that was very appropriate, because she also has the heterochromia, which is like the 2 different colored eyes.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And then Tiva, when we got her, she was only 12 weeks old, and Casa at that time was about 8 months or something like that. So they were still puppies. So when they would play around, it looked like she was doing like a little dance or something. So that's what Tiva means, is dance. And that's when she gets excited. She's that very lab. She has lab in her. They're both mixed breeds, but yeah, she has lab in her, and you know how they get wiggly and bouncy when they're excited. So yeah, that's what we decided for the dogs. And then Mojo we thought was a boy when we got her.
Oh, nice.
So it took us forever actually to think of a name for him. Just one day he was playing, and we were like, oh, my husband's like, what about Mojo? I was like, I really like that. It fits, like, she's very spunky, it fits her personality.
Right.
But then we took her to go get neutered, and they called 10 minutes after we left, and like, you do realize he's a she, right? We're like, no. But okay. So that's why I'll call on social media or whatever, I'll just call her Miss Mojo, so that people know she's a female. But she's my soul cat. She's the one that started this crazy cat lady journey. I always grew up with dogs, and we got a cat when I was a bit older, but he was just everybody's cat. He didn't have like his person. So but yeah, Mojo chose me. We'd actually just been helping, so there's like a Maine Coon breeder like about an hour away from here, and he had some kittens, and he posted on social media that he wanted people to go in and help socialize people. They go to their new homes, so they're not scared, or so we went to that, and thankfully all of them had got a deposit put down on them, because otherwise we'd have been in trouble.
Take them all.
Yeah. But then on the way home we stopped by one of the local pet stores, and they have like adoption events and things like that. So she was there. She had a little sign on her crate saying that she wasn't ready for another week, and because she'd had EMI, she was part of a feral colony and she'd been rescued. She was about 3 months old, and it was about the end of the day. They were getting ready to go home. I came by, and her foster mom was like, oh, you can take her out and like snuggle on her if you want. So I did. And she just laid there in my arms, just contently purring away. And I looked over at the foster mom, and you could tell she was like, because she'd been turning people away all day, like saying, she's not ready, come back next week. And then I put her back in the crate, because we weren't sure we wanted a kitten at that time, because my husband already had a senior cat who was 12 years old. So we didn't really know if we wanted to bring another kitten in.
Fair.
But yeah, the foster mom was like, you can take her home right now if you want. We looked at each other, we were like, I don't know. He says she's not ready for another week, so we'll come back next week, if we make the decision. We literally walked halfway out of that store, looked at each other, turned around and went back and got her that same day. So.
Meant to be.
Yeah. Now every time I get up in the morning, she greets me. She like talks to me and comes and lays on me. I'm sure you've seen in my Instagram stories, like her laying on me, and yeah, she's my baby. And then we got Binks, who of course I'm sure you know is from Hocus Pocus.
I didn't know that, but you knew?
I love Hocus Pocus.
Yeah, ever since that movie came out, like Thackeray Binks is the young boy that gets turned into the black cat. And ever since that movie, I'd always wanted a black cat, and I'd always wanted to call him Binks. So I begged and begged and begged my husband, because we already had 4 animals at that time.
Yeah.
And I saw Binks on a Facebook group. He was an accidental litter, and I showed my husband. He's like, okay, because he's a cat guy. We're both more cat people. So yeah, we went to go get him, and of course, who did he choose as his person? My husband.
Wow.
Yeah, but we say that when we lost, because we lost Matilda was our senior cat. She was 17 when we lost her.
Wow.
When we had to unfortunately put her down, but we always say, because we got Binks just before she passed away, so I always say that she sent him for my husband. So yeah.
I think all metalheads are cat lovers. That's something I'm starting to find out.
Yeah.
And like your husband's big into metal too, right? You guys go to concerts all the time, correct?
Yeah. He's more so, he doesn't really like he likes harsh vocals if there's a good mix of clean vocals. He can't really listen to a harsh vocal song all the way, if it's just harsh vocals, whereas I like songs a little bit heavier. I think just after COVID, like 2021 or 20, I can't remember. I think it was November 21. I went to go see Ginger, but he wouldn't come with me because it was a bit too heavy for him.
Oh no, he missed Ginger.
Yeah, but now he kicks himself, because now over the last like 2 years or something, his tastes have changed a bit, especially with my channel, and he can handle it a bit more now. But yeah, my best friend flew in, and she came with me to Ginger, and we did the whole VIP meet and greet thing.
Oh,
and
you got to meet Tatiana and all them. Wow.
Well, it was only for like literally just walking down,
shake the hand.
The table.
Right.
Well, we couldn't even. They had masks on because of COVID.
Oh, okay.
It was very strict. It was very, if I was a tour manager back then, I would have been too. So
of course.
So yeah, it was very quick. It was there's a photo, but they're all wearing masks, and me and my friend are like got masks on at the end, and I met Ginger, but it's not like the best meet and greet photo you'll ever see. So if I ever get to see them again, I'd probably do it again and get a proper one.
Wow.
So.
Ginger is coming to Calgary in September, so I'm not sure if they're going to be doing an American tour as well around that time.
I think they are, but we've got so much going on in September right now already that
plans that far, eh?
Yeah, so we're flying to Houston, Texas to see Camelot, because
right on.
I've been a huge fan of them since I discovered Nightwish in like 2004, and I've never seen them live. So they weren't coming anywhere close enough for me with enough time, because they were going to Georgia, but that was a festival and it's already sold out. And then they were going to Florida. But the next day we had to be up in Charlotte, North Carolina, which is already a 3-hour drive from where we live. So we just add that on to another 8 hours. It just wasn't possible. So we chose to go to Houston, and it'll be the first time I get to physically meet and hang out with Old School Nerd. I don't know if you guys have heard of him.
No, haven't.
He's another reactor. He's an amazing guy. He streams. He's on the road to 100Ks, about 83,000 right now.
Wow.
I think, and he streams pretty much every week on Twitch in the evenings, and we just become really good friends. And
cool.
His fiance is a little bit younger than he is, and so we have that kind of connection there. And so we're gonna go fly out and for a couple of days and meet and hang out with them, and then see Camelot. And then literally like 2 days after that, when we get back, we've got Delane. So
the Delane concert. Wow.
Yeah.
That's super exciting.
Yeah, that'll be the first time I'm seeing Delane as well, because I didn't honestly. I found them through my channel. I didn't really get into them when I found Nightwish.
Right.
So I found them on the channel. My second reaction was Delane.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm excited. I know I've interviewed Martine and Diana.
Yes, I saw your interview with Diana.
That might be a good thing to talk about, actually, because obviously we're doing our own podcast for interviewing. There's two of us, and I know the pressure that takes when it's just two of us. You're doing this alone. You're already saying you get nervous for even just reactions. So I want to know what gives you the courage and the kahunas to get in front of that camera to do an interview with people that you respect and love. And also congrats on getting people like Diane and Melissa and all those people as well.
Well, I think honestly, it's my community. They're the ones that pushed me to do it. I think they saw something in me that I didn't see in myself.
Right.
And, you know, I think they just, because I am a very reserved person. I'm not like crazy jumping around and whatever in my reactions as well.
Right.
I'm just not that kind of person. Like if somebody wants to do that, they can go ahead and do that. That's their personality. I have nothing against that. Yeah. So I'm just, I mean, mine's more so like my facial expressions and like, of course I'll headbang and whatever, but I'm not like, you know, you see people jumping out of their chairs, punching their chairs and throwing them around and things like that. And I'm just not that kind of person. So if I did that on a reaction, I think my social battery and just my emotional battery would just go and just
you're right.
out.
Yes.
And I wouldn't be able to. Plus, I want to be myself. What you see on camera is who I am. So really
respectable.
Yeah. So with interviews, I'd always, for the longest time, wanted to do it, but it wasn't up until recently where, like my community was saying, you know, you would be really good at it. You should try it. So the first one I ever did was Micah. She's also a reactor, but she's in a band called Without Warning. And if you guys haven't checked Without Warning out, they're amazing. Like they're still an up and coming band from Finland, but they're fantastic. Micah's vocals are crazy good. So, but yeah, so I started with her. But then I made like Old School Nerd actually helped me get connected with some of the record labels, so he's helped me that way too.
Oh, wow.
And then I would, you know, they would ask me, and they knew I was big fans of Delane and you know, of course, Ad Infinitum and you know, the projects that Melissa is a part of, and so they're like, hey, of course they've got new albums coming out. They're like, hey, we've got this person. Would you like to do an interview? I'm like, yes.
Wow.
Yes, I would love to. Yes. So that's how I got Martine and Diana. Was through Napalm Records themselves.
Wow.
That's incredible.
That's a huge record label to be connected with.
They're absolutely amazing people too. They're very, you know, they understand the reactor scene, because obviously some record labels just don't, and they don't get it, and but that's how I can get my videos monetized, is because they will whitelist them for me as well.
Of course.
So, you know, and there's a lot of great record labels out there that will. A Rising Empire, Nuclear Blast is another. Wow. Even Century Media will do it for you. You just, you know, of course, you just have to make those connections, and it helps when you've got amazing people like Old School Nerd who are willing to, you know,
help promote you too.
They see your worth, and they see that, you know, that you're not fake and you're genuine with what you're doing, and they want to push you out there and build you up. And that's what I love about this community. It's, you know, it's I don't think I've ever come across any reactor who I've reached out to who has just been like, you're not worth my time. They've always been really friendly and helpful. Like Orion in the beginning of my journey helped me a lot. And but don't get me wrong, as soon as like that 5-minute countdown starts to an interview, my heart is going. Like I can literally hear it in my head, and I'm just like, you can do it, you can do it, you know. But, and it's I don't want to do too much research either, because I feel like that puts too much pressure on myself. I want the conversation to flow, so I just make quick bullet points, and I have like my notepad pulled up on one screen, so I can just look at bullet points and then just lead off of what they're talking about. So I try and be as natural as possible. So
Well, you do a good job because I'm over preparing, I feel, because like I have so much here. We haven't even looked at any pre-written question yet, but we're flowing too. It's almost been an hour, which is crazy, right?
Yeah, it is crazy.
But you've done 15 of them already, so I just want to tell you, this is our 5th one, as you know, and that's incredible to do that alone for that long, because you've been doing this essentially for 5 months now, and you almost have gotten one out every week or every second week, and that's a hard grind to manage with everything else, because you're trying to get your reactions out too, trying to prep. There's a lot of work. And one of the good questions that we have on that is, you're saying it's just you, so does that mean that you're editing everything yourself, start to finish, thumbnails, the whole shebang?
Yep, I do everything myself.
Wow, that's very impressive. And I know, like, when we were doing some looking into your background stuff, you love makeup, and you're really big into doing different makeup styles and even cosplay and stuff like that. That love for makeup and design and artisticness, like artistry, do you like pull a lot of that into when you're editing too, to make that your own like kind of creative outlet with your videos as well?
No, because honestly, my video edits are very simple. Like if you go
you got a rhythm.
Yeah, and I really don't know much about video editing. Not like if you go watch Orion or FYM Media Productions, he's unfortunately just packed in, his headset. He's not doing it anymore. But if you watch some of his reactions and the lengths he goes to edit those, it's like another level. So
it's intimidating.
It is intimidating, but sometimes people just like the simplicity of like I literally just do an intro, I add my intro video and then talk about it, and then I literally cut and go to the reaction, do another cut, and then that's pretty much it. That's add background music, and that's pretty much about it that I know for video editing. But I do like bringing the creative aspect of like makeup and things into my channel, especially if like I'm wearing a band t-shirt and it's got like fun colors on it. I like to try and match with my my eyeshadow and things like that. And that I only just started doing makeup honestly properly like that when the pandemic hit, because it was something to do and an interest I had, because before that I was like scared of doing eyeshadow. I didn't know how to blend it. I didn't know what I was doing, and I just self-taught myself how to do it by watching YouTube videos. And
that's really cool. I'm still getting into makeup myself. I still use my fingers, like I fingerprinted on my face. And you'll notice in a lot of our reactions I actually don't wear makeup, because it's something that I'm very creative with paint, but not so much face paint. But I think it's really interesting how you say that you don't bring the creativity as much into your video edits, because when I was watching your Tori talks, because I went and watched a whole bunch of them before we had an interview with you, because I was really interested to see how you put those together. And I have to say that I loved your editing style, where you had the white frame around each video, and you had like Diane's name under one, Tori reacts under the other, and everything. And so I think you do a lot of creativity with that, and I thought it was a beautiful way to do that edit. And I even paused it to show Kyle, I'm like, look what she does, this is so cool.
Your overlay looks amazing, and
looks phenomenal.
We're curious, when you do these interviews, are you doing it on Twitch? Are you doing like a Zoom, or?
I do it on Zoom.
Okay.
But I have the overlay in OBS, and I just switch to the overlay in OBS and film it that way on OBS. I don't film the Zoom meeting, I film it in OBS, so that leaves less editing for me, and I only need to add like a logo in or a name in here and there, because it's already like at the end of this interview I can show you, but
please,
it makes it easier for me that way, because as I said, if I was to add all that in and like try and match up everything to its individual spot, it would take me hours. And I'm just if I can cut down on something and not take the easy way out, but just make it less
feasible,
harder on myself.
Smarter, not harder.
Exactly that.
Well, that's incredible. And kind of while we're talking about makeup and all that, you're big into costumes, cosplay, and all that. I think obviously Halloween's probably your favorite holiday, or is it Christmas, or?
I don't know if I have a favorite holiday per se.
Okay, fair enough.
I do like autumn to winter the best, just because my body cannot handle this North Carolina heat.
Oof,
But I've always loved it being colder anyway. I love dark, gloomy, stormy sky. I mean, you can see on my tattoo, you know, like when it's gloomy out, or like it's like a pretty sunset, or just I love being able to wrap up instead of like having to literally wear, because I mean, it's, you could walk around naked, but you get some funny looks.
You get some funny looks.
Yeah.
And I'm not about that. So
No.
yeah, I'd rather, I know how to dress my body for being, you know, with layers, rather than I hate dressing for summer and spring.
Right.
So yeah, I would love, like, my husband's only ever been to England once, and that was before we got married, just because of the expense.
Okay.
And obviously getting time off work for that, because you can't go for a week, you have to go for at least 2 just to make it worth it.
Of course.
Journey. So I really would love him to go home and experience an English Christmas, like with my family at some point. So that's on a bucket list for sure.
And your husband, he's military, so it's hard for him to get time off work, I'd assume.
He's not active duty anymore. He used to be in the Navy, and then he got out, I think, just before 9/11 happens. And then when 9/11, no, he was in the reserves just before 9/11, like the Navy reserves. And then 9/11 happened, and they called him and sent him to Germany. And then during that time, he got out and then started working for the Army. So he's an Army civilian. Yeah.
Wow.
Good for him. And he's started his own gaming channel too. I know he hasn't like done too much with it, but is that something he's hoping to continue on or anything?
I don't think he'll ever like live stream with it or anything. I think it's just more so to have it. He has a huge Discord community. If he's had this gaming community called Has Team for it's 22nd birthday today, actually.
Wow.
Of them being around. So yeah, he's gaming right now.
Oh, right on.
Yeah. And he took this week off because with it being July 4th. He's off tomorrow anyway, so he just like, I'll just take the 3 days off and just have the week off. So he's been home and taking the opportunity to game, and he's got a really big community of like-minded people, a lot of veterans as well, because that's what he knows about. And he's a big passion with that. We've got Marines, Navy, Air Force, all of them, in there, and they're just really nice people. So
very nice people.
And your community has helped out with him as well, with like the GoFundMe for that guy that needed like a laptop made and all that. So I found that really cool and encouraging. And the reason why I brought up the cosplay thing, just so you know, it wasn't just random. It was because I saw you do a really cool Elsa cosplay when you're doing like Let It Go and Into the Unknown, and I just thought that was really cool, because I know at the beginning of streaming you're always looking for new things to do. So do you still do stuff like that, where you like do a theme and then maybe put on something to match the theme? Or
I haven't yet, but we actually do attend the local Comic-Con here that happens at the end of this month. So nice. We just got our cosplays ready for that. I still need to do a makeup test. My husband is a huge Trekkie, Star Trek fan.
Ooh. Yes.
Yeah. So
I went to go do the thing and my fingers didn't work.
But this thing?
This thing.
Yeah. So you can't, like, these bookshelves all around me, I have like 2 here as well. And they're full of Star Trek stuff, like full. And so we've been, I think this is our 4th. Yeah, this will be our 4th year. The first year I didn't cosplay because I wasn't comfortable yet to do it. The second year I did Diva from Overwatch.
Oh, cool.
And then last year I was going to do Captain Carter, but my shield didn't get here in time, which is like the British version of Captain America, Peggy Carter.
Okay.
But yeah, my shield didn't get here in time, so I just did a quick Amazon and did Ariel from the Little Mermaid.
Look great as an Ariel.
Thank you. It was so heartwarming, like the all the little girls coming up and like their parents asking can they get a photo with their favorite princess, and like my heart just melted. And yeah, so she's been one of my favorite. I mean, I literally have Ariel tattooed.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, I love that.
Wow.
Like, part of my sleeve, and like, I just wanted a bit more grown up and like more piratey, so it went with this part of the sleeve. And then this year, like my husband's never dressed up yet, and I was like, if you dress up this year, I will go as female Spock. So
oh my gosh, yes.
That's what I'm doing. But more so from the new series that's out right now, Strange New Worlds.
Right. Okay.
Like because my husband he's got that salt and pepper hair like Captain Pike. So he's gonna dress as Captain Pike, and then I'll do a female version of Spock. So yeah.
It sounds like this channel is getting him out of his shell a bit more too now.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. He makes jokes about not wanting to come on and be on the stream, but he's just Mr. Personality all around. He can literally talk to a lamppost and have a conversation about anything. So
wow. I can talk to anything too, I guess.
Yeah, he has no issue with that, but I think like a lot of people, it just takes a lot of courage and bravery to dress up and put yourself out there. But with Comic-Con, like literally 90% of the crowd are cosplaying.
Yeah.
So plus there's gonna be like 12 Star Trek actors there this year.
Oh, right on.
Yeah. So, and big ones like Janeway is gonna be there. Data, yeah, me too. Data.
Oh, that's so cool.
Dr. Crusher, I know she's going to be there. Nice. Just quite a lot from the new Picard series came out, so they're getting a bit more around with doing signings and things like that. So yeah, he's very excited.
That's super exciting. I grew up on Star Trek, so I love it. I have a question for you. It's a little bit of a tougher question, but I was wondering, what was one of the hardest days of your life? And one of the easiest or best days of your life?
Hardest day of my life was telling my ex-husband I wanted a divorce, because I was previously married. I got married extremely young. We met when I was 18. I got married by 20, and then I was divorced by 22, 23.
Wow.
So yeah, he was very manipulative and emotionally abusive.
Damn.
He controlled me with money. He would work full time, and I didn't have a job, so that's how he would
hold leverage on you.
Right. And I guess I just finally woke up to it one day and asked like, what are you doing here? You can't live your life sheltered away like this, or it's scared like this. You need to get out. So I bravely stood up to him, and I told him I wanted a divorce. And then I had to live with him for like another month after that, because obviously I had no money.
Right.
And I had to find a house on benefits. And trying to find a house on benefits,
it's
that
hard.
Somebody's willing to give you is hard. So yeah, I lost a lot of weight very unhealthily. That was the hardest moment. I think one of my happiest moments, honestly, there's been so many. Like, I am so grateful for what I have right now. Like, the last 10 years of my life with my husband has just been amazing. We've had so many amazing memories together, and I'm grateful for it every single day. And I wake up and I just take each day as it comes. And I'm not one of those people who likes to plan in advance, because you just don't know what life's going to give you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think when we got married, and then my love language is gift giving. So
fair enough.
I like buying people gifts, and I put a lot of thought into it, and I just like seeing people's faces light up, when they see what I've got them. And I'm not very good at keeping a secret, especially if I've got somebody something, and I'm just like very excited for them to have it. When COVID happened, of course, the Comic-Con got cancelled, and Data and Janeway were supposed to be at that one. So for my husband's, I think it was either for our anniversary or for his, it must have been for our anniversary, because that's after Comic-Con. I got him a data like cameo where like they film, you know, a personalized video for you.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah. But yeah,
I just love that.
He even to this day he still shares it around. He's like, look what my wife got me.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I don't know if I can pinpoint like one specific day where it's been like euphoric happy. I'm happy now in who I am as a person, and how I've grown over the last 10 years, and like myself 10 years ago would never be doing this. So yeah.
That's amazing. I'm super happy to hear how amazing your life is going and how happy you are, and that just it's just phenomenal. And I'm sorry, I'm like a super empathetic person, so I get like teary.
No, you're good.
I cry in like every one of my reaction videos.
I am too. I'm sure you sent me cry a bunch in mine too. So
something I just wanted to elaborate on. One of my happiest days of my life was when Oliver was born. And I know you have stepkids. I know you got a bunch of animals and all that. Do you and your husband ever plan on having kids or anything like that? Or
no.
Hey, that's fair.
When we met, he'd already had 2 failed marriages. So in his second marriage, he decided to get a vasectomy. So it's just we talked about it, but with his, you know, with our age difference, and if I ever got pregnant now, he would have to start all over again, and he's in his 50s, and it's not fair to him, and it's not fair to that child either. Right. So it's just we're happy as we are. We've got, you know, he's got twins.
Oh, he's got twins.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they're twins. Yeah, one's in Chicago right now, and the other's down in Florida. But yeah, so
that's amazing.
We're happy as we are.
Good.
That blended family.
It's definitely blended.
That's fantastic. And we already saw how you guys met. Sorry, I'm going through the questions here quickly. I actually am really curious because I have some tattoos, and I see that you have your sleeve with Ariel and everything. How many tattoos do you have in total?
I have 10 in total.
10. Wow. Do you have a favorite tattoo out of the 10? And do any of your tattoos have extreme meaning to you?
So I think my sleeve is probably my favorite, just because it's just so colorful, and it's just like, you know, out there, and just it's my love of the sea, and my love of I've always been drawn to the sea. I'm a Pisces. My family would call me a fish. I used to compete for my local city when I was younger, swimming. So my most meaningful one, I think, I don't know if you can see it, is I have this right here. It says "See you in the morning."
Yes.
And it's my mom's handwriting.
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
And of course she would say that every time she would tuck us in at nighttime. So and then of course I have the Nightwish lyrics at the top of my back here. It's the "Take me, cure me, kill me, bring me home" from Ghost Love Score, because I didn't want to go with the tradition. A lot of people tend to go with the traditional, like the choir bit that's at the end.
Right.
So I just wanted something different, and then I heard Floor sing that, and she does it in the grittiness, and then first she does it in the operatic, and then she goes into the grittiness, and I'm just like, that's it, that's what I want. But I also got my mom to handwrite that out as well, so it would have more meaning. It's my favorite lyrics, and it with my mom's handwriting. But I think I have most of mine kind of hold a lot of meaning. The only real ones that don't hold a lot of meaning is I've got a lower back tattoo that I got when I was 18. I got it because I like the style of it. Fair. It's like a skull with wings and some lilies. And I got that done at 18. It was done really badly, and I got it fixed about 3 years ago now, and that's how I found this tattoo artist. Was she fixed that? She did a cover up and fixed that for me. And then I have some stars right here that I got on literally on my 18th birthday, just because I've wanted a tattoo on my 18th birthday.
That's
and
kind of how I got this one. Just wanted a tattoo, went in with my friend and got tattoos off the street.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I did it. I'd always had a fascination with tattoos. I remember being in high school and like I think just before I went into high school, I think that's when the Spice Girls split up, and then like Mel C went ahead and like a lot of them did their own solo careers, but I mostly followed Mel C just because I loved her voice the most, just because it was so original. It was a lot different than what you would normally hear. And
Which one's had her again?
Sporty Spice.
Sporty, okay.
Yeah, and then she had quite a few tattoos, and then she had a little star right here on her hand.
Yep.
And in high school, I would just always draw it on my hand right there. And then that's just what started my fascination with tattoos. And I just knew since then that I would always go out and get some. So yeah, I've got a matching tattoo of an octopus holding my birthstone with my best friend's got the same one. We got them together.
So you're quite the ocean soul. That makes sense why you love Nightwish and Tawamis and everything he puts out. And you even have like the Kraken. So you love the Pirates of the Caribbean and all of that. So that makes a lot of sense.
This is the Black Pearl.
That's the Black Pearl.
Literally the Black Pearl with the black sails. I love it.
Yeah. And then sorry, go ahead.
I'm a tattoo virgin, just to let you know.
Yeah, my husband just got his first one in February, so
I got time then.
You've got time.
You do. Yeah, you have plenty of time. You're never too old to get your first tattoo. You hear stories of 90-year-olds going and getting their first tattoos, so
wow.
But like you say, the ocean soul, I'm actually like my inner arm, because I don't have anything here right now. I have an appointment on Saturday where I want the god of the sea, Neptune or Poseidon, whatever you want to call him, with so in Rome they had like all the fountains and stuff had seahorses on them, but they were actual horse heads and legs, but they had like the seahorse tail. So that also covers my favorite animal is a horse. I just think they're majestic. I just love them.
Absolutely.
So that covers that, but I also asked her to put scripture of ocean soul on it as well for me. So
there you go. That's awesome. And how are you gonna do that whole back then? Do you know how long that kind of takes? Is that like 12-hour ago?
No, she's honestly, my tattoo artist is very fast at what she does. She's very talented. She's very fast. Like when I first did this, we did all the black and shading of the ship and the Kraken, and that took 4 or 5 hours, I think. And then we went in to do another session with the color, which again took about 4 hours. So probably about the same.
Okay.
So I'm excited, but I'm also nervous because I've heard like the underarm is very tender. That's why I've left it till the last minute.
Right.
Yes.
You can do it. You got the courage.
Well, and I also just want this finished too.
Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Sorry. And I do know, so like while watching a lot of your reactions, you have also done work with Just Jen. How was it working with Just Jen?
Yeah, she's a really nice person. Her channel's kind of changed a lot from doing reactions to like more political stuff, and I just don't really have an interest with that, so I don't really keep up with it anymore.
Fair.
So yeah, I don't really want to like get into that, honestly.
That's fair. That makes sense. And sorry, now I've lost my train.
I'll ask. I can take it here, honey. On that, then what type of reactors do you like, and what about us? Because I know you didn't want a bunch of just random copy and paste messages sent to you, so there must have been something personal that you felt about us. And then since watching us, what have you enjoyed about us, and are there other people you want to collaborate with or anything like that?
Well, with you guys, I mean, your message was very sweet. It was to the point, but it was very sweet. And then you mentioned like my personality and things like that. Yeah. And because I am a very humble person. I feel like sometimes my personality lacks, but that's just me being like talking down on myself,
Yeah.
because I do see people who are bigger with their personalities and are a bit more outspoken and a bit more out there. Obviously, they have a bigger channel, but I've never really been about, like, people do say they're not about views and clicks and whatever, but I truly am not. I don't look at my analytics at all. I don't care.
Wow, really?
I don't care. I do
you.
This purely for the passion of doing it, because I want to find new music.
Yes.
With you guys, you have a really good connection between yourselves, and then I just really love how you are honest about everything. And honestly, the first 2 minutes of a reaction, you can tell if it's genuine or if it's just I'm here because I want the views and I want the subs and I want to make money off of this, so it's easy to find those who are genuine, who are down for just wanting to find new music, who are wanting to create things and connect with other people, like-minded people. So I think that's what drew me to answer yours, is just because you were nice. You were nice about it.
I tried to be.
Yeah, you weren't I literally got a message the other day that just said "oi," and I was like, that is not how you, it's not how you approach somebody. And then with the messages from bands, if it's just not personal, or saying, "Hey Tori, we saw you did this reaction," or blah 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 blah, or it's just straight, it's just a copy paste message, you can usually tell. I just feel if people are going to be more personable and approachable to me, then I'll be that way to you. And I like to treat people how I want to be treated. And if you're just gonna send a general message to every single person you can just to try and get as many reactions as you can, I appreciate the hustle of that, but I don't I just don't connect with that.
That makes sense.
And watching you from the beginning, your intro is very hello, welcome to my channel. If you haven't been here before, I forgot exactly how it went, but it is very to the point and not hey, you've entered the chronic rabbit hole like I do. But I actually really respect that about you, because you can tell that's what you're comfortable with. And then you get right into it and you're not faking it. And that's something that alerted me to you right off the bat. And I've actually held you up to kind of see how I'm doing based on how well you've been doing, because you kind of need those people to kind of look up to, right? So you've been someone I've been looking up for over 9 months now, since I've been starting this. Yeah, and it's crazy because you never know these things, and we know you get those frits here and there where they have a more personal connection, but so just letting you know you're doing really good, and encouraging even reactors like myself to keep being more like themselves. Because I am very eccentric and all that, but I am pretty reserved, and I can talk pretty philosophically and all that too. So I've been able to get my thoughts out easier now. So I think keep doing what you're doing. And it's mind-blowing to know you're not even looking at analytics, because I'm a very big analytics stats guy. I like sports and all that. So so it's just really cool to see how different people attack this. And if you have the love for music, which you do, because it's your lifeline, people can tell it's your lifeline, and that's what makes people commit to you. Yeah. And again, it's just if I was to be somebody else in front of camera, and then somebody meets me in real life and then she's nothing like she is on camera, then I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want to be fake, or I just want to appear how I am here. And I think if you are eccentric, or if you are that way, then be that way. If that's who you are deep down at heart, then do that. Don't hold yourself back. Do it. But you also have to find there's a line that some people tend to go over, and they overreact too much. And that's when it becomes silly, and then it doesn't become about the band. It's about you. And for me, I think reactions for me are for especially new and up and coming bands. It's about trying to get them out there into the audience, and so that's how I try and do it. And I've never been a big I hate math, I hate numbers. I've never been I've never been into that kind of stuff. So of course I like to see my channel grow, and I like to see that subscriber count go up, as does anybody. And I like to see that I get views and comments, but I'm not, if I only get 50 views, then I only get 50 views. It's not the end of the world.
It's what it is.
It's really for the love of music, and not everyone can say that, because like you're saying, everyone becomes parodies of themselves, and sometimes I don't want to say the same intro just because then I might get too robotic and all that. I don't necessarily get nervous for reactions anymore, but for interviews I get so dang nervous before an interview. It's actually incredible, but that's what I live for. So it's also nice to now have this to kind of have that game time feel for me. And I just applaud you for doing this alone, because at first Alanna was very nervous for these interviews and she almost didn't want to do them with me. So I was about to go in by myself, but I have someone to support me the whole time. And thank God, because I don't know how you do it alone, and it's really impressive. And I don't mean to keep tooting your horn or anything here, but
my head's gonna be like, whoop.
You're gonna leave me like, I'm the best.
Yeah. But here's a more, I guess, serious question then. What has been one of your biggest hiccups or mistakes on your reaction channel journey so far?
Putting out a reaction to a song that I didn't like at all.
Oh.
Because you will never find a negative reaction on my channel now, ever.
Wow. Okay.
Because of course there's things out there that I don't like. Music is subjective in that way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But if I start to listen to something now and I'm just not feeling it and it's not my thing, then I'll stop the reaction and I won't continue on with it. One, because it's not fair to the band.
Yeah. Okay.
To get that negative, and then it's not fair to their fan base either. They're out here looking for positive reactions, and they thrive on that, and that's what they want.
Yeah.
And when somebody doesn't, of course you can say it respectfully, in which I did, but I just got so bombarded with comments and pretty nasty comments that I was like, oh, okay, lesson learned. And now but it's difficult to do that, obviously, when you live stream, because people are going to hit you with everything. So what I try to do is I just focus on what I did like about the song, and I'll just say, well, I won't put this in my playlist, and it's not necessarily something I would choose to listen to again. Here's what I did like about it. So
I understand that, and I guess the pressure because I kind of feel that same way, where I don't want to put out a reaction if I don't like it, but we have gone like the Patreon route a lot of the time, so people are paying for these requests. And then sometimes when you listen to a song that was paid for, or like maybe on your live stream when someone gave you that $10 incentive, it is tough to want to put it out, and you don't want to bash the band. But I really respect that, because then you're not putting anything negative out, and that's not what you're trying to do.
Right. And I think what you put out totally affects who you are as a person. If you're going to put negativity out there, then you're going to end up having negativity in your life. If you try and concentrate on the positive, then that's what you're going to get back in return. And I feel like that's how my community is. They're always of course we all have our bad days, and we all need mental health days, or just like I call them couch potato days or duvet days, where you just want to veg out and do nothing. And I 100% advocate for that, because we need a reset day now and then. So but I just don't want to put something negative out there, because the amount of comments that people are saying, and then that affects your channel, because then they're not going to come back and check you out for anything else.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I get that.
So it was a Spirit Box song, and it was like it was the Mara Effects 1, 2, and 3.
Yep.
And it didn't connect for me.
That's interesting to hear from our side, that you don't like that too.
Well, it's just that's the only song that Spirit Box has put out that it didn't connect for me. It's something in the timing. They were playing around with timing and stuff, so it just I don't know, I just didn't grasp at it. And I wasn't nasty about it, but people like to defend their favorite bands. So
absolutely. And as you said, art is subjective, music is subjective. Some people are going to like one thing, other people aren't going to like that same thing, because we're all human, we all have different tastes. And I think that's very positive, that you're spreading positivity, and you don't want to bring that negativity even to your channel, to your personal life, or even to your business, because this is your business. And I think that builds such a great community of building positivity and pushing positivity. and knowing where your boundaries are as well, and shows just how strong you are as an individual and a person.
Well, and then with doing these interviews, I have had bands, say, like especially the last one with Elaine, with Madeline and Rickard, they were talking about how people do talk negatively sometimes, and that how it affects them as the band. And of course they need constructive criticism is always needed for anything, but then people just are mean for being mean. And there's nothing constructive about it. So that's when I told them that I don't put negative reactions out, and they thanked me for that, because they were like, I wish more people would do that, because we just don't need that negativity out there. So just know that it does affect, like when the bands will watch your reactions, and to anybody who is watching this, they will watch it, and they appreciate your feedback as with any artist.
Well, question on the interview then. Do you know Marcella Bavio?
Mm-hmm.
We accidentally forgot to hit record on that one.
Oh, no.
That was our
biggest hiccup. Luckily she's gonna come and do another interview with us.
Oh, good.
Down the line, so like nothing completely lost or anything. But a question I have for you, because you've interviewed just one person at a time, or two people at a time. We just interviewed a band called Our Dying World, which is a very good symphonic metal band that I think you would love, and they're a little down there. They're not too popular or anything. They're in America as well, but it was really hard to find a way to keep all of them engaged. Do you find it a harder challenge to interview more than one person?
Yeah. I think I've only done 2 so far. 2 people. I think that's pretty much about the limit. I think when it comes to more than 2 people, it's going to get extremely hard. With 2 people, you can have them bouncing off themselves, but I think with 3, somebody's always going to like just wander off and or feel left out, or it's going to be extremely hard. So I haven't done like a full band interview just yet. I'm sure that day will come.
We hope.
Yeah, I hope so too. Like I was trying to do that with Conquer Divide, but they unfortunately all couldn't be there. But I definitely do think it's harder with more people. I think it's also harder with just one person, because you have to keep that conversation rolling.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't have anybody else to bounce questions off.
Yeah.
So the interview with, for me personally, I don't know if it comes across, but I feel like the interview with Melissa, because I feel like we both have somewhat of the same personalities. We're both quiet people, and I feel like that's the interview where I feel like I was struggling just a little bit, like in it.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was a bad interview. I just think
sometimes when you're too alike with personality, it can cause a little bit of a complication there with trying to keep that conversation, that flow going, when it's nicer when someone else is a bit more outgoing and is able to maintain that flow while you think of the next question. And you said yourself, you're a really good listener. So if you have 2 really good listeners having a conversation.
I just want to scream right now, so I'm trying to reserve myself.
So I mean, it's definitely been a learning curve, but I'm really glad that I started it. The one I'm most proud of, I think, has to be the Deanne Van Gierspriggen. I completely butchered her name, but that's the one I actually reached out to her personally myself. It wasn't through management or anything like that. It was just to her direct email that I found. She does her jewelry line. So she was getting ready to release her first ever solo single, because of course she was with Exandria before that, and she's got her project Ex Libris. But before she was just about to release it, and I emailed her and she agreed. She said, your channel seems very professional and I'm happy to come on, and we had a really nice chat. So
we had a great chat, and she was like in costume too, or like was looking amazing. And
she was beaming, and she was just really excited about her solo project.
Absolutely.
Was it Into the Storm? Was that first single? Right.
Nice.
And that's something I've learned about with interviews. These artists actually want to do these interviews and push out their new singles and all that. So they're actually looking for people like us. And it makes you think like everyone's just human.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's what I have to remind myself every time I go into an interview. Like, no matter how much I admire this person's art, at the end of the day, they're just like me. They eat, drink, sleep like me. They, they're just human beings, and that you're just there to talk about their passion, which happens to be music. So
yeah. Do you have like a time limit when you're interviewing or anything like that? Or?
It depends on the artist. With ones that I get from Napalm, because they usually have a big scheduled list of interviews that they have to do for that day. I get like a 30-minute time slot. So, but
do you find that difficult with?
Honestly, no. I think 30 minutes is a good time for artists and for a lot of people, because I think people tend to like wander after a bit,
Fair enough.
Their attention. So I think 30 minutes is a good, especially an artist. Like if for something like this is different, but with like an artist, like talking about the album, and because that's what you're focused on, is what's coming out now. It's not, you're not focusing on the past or what's, or anything like that. It's just what's happening right now and what's coming out right now. And of course you can ask them questions about the past and how they got into music and whatever, but the main focus is always going to be on the album,
the present.
So,
Absolutely.
Maybe I should focus on that a little bit more, because I'm all about digging up the past. And but thank you. This has already been an hour and a half, by the way. That's why it's just crazy how quick time goes.
It is, especially when, like, because I feel like we have a good connection. This hasn't been awkward at any point. So I think when you've got people like that who are willing just to sit down and to talk, then I think it's a great way to do it. So.
Well, speaking of feeling at home, have you ever been to Canada?
I haven't. No,
wow,
not yet.
okay.
Not yet. I know my mom and dad have been.
Yeah.
When I was, I think it was like 16, they took, like, my dad's a biker, so they did a big a tour through, I think it's through like the Rockies or something.
Yes.
So they came up through Canada and then back down into the US on a bike tour.
Wow.
But yeah, I've never.
I think you'd love it here. Maybe not the politics or anything, but it would remind you a lot of Britain. Yeah, it's
I would love to come and visit. Absolutely. One of my mods is actually from up there, so maybe one day I could go up and meet her. So yeah.
A question about mods. We don't have a mod yet because I mean there's two of us, so we have a little bit more people and fingers to use. But what's the best way to kind of reach out for mods? Like, did they ask you, or did you set up something like, who wants to be a mod on this channel?
For me, it just kind of happened naturally, because I ended up starting streaming at the same time 2 other channels. Like, Just Jen was starting to stream, and then Songs and Thongs were starting to stream.
Oh,
Songs and Thongs.
Yeah, and we also kind of had, they're from South Africa. They're a really nice couple.
Very nice couple.
I actually just celebrated their 50K on their live stream with them.
Yeah,
they invited me to do that with them, which was really nice, and it was fun. Cool. But yeah, we kind of have. We did until Jen changed, her direction. We had like the same sort of community, and so the mods kind of like just took control of the 3 channels, and that's kind of how it's. Of course, some of it's changed now and then, and some people have come, some people have gone, but honestly, it's just down to like who you feel you can trust, who you've been, who, even those who have been around since the beginning, and then you ask them to be a mod, they're going to be honored by that, because they're a big part of your channel. So that's pretty much how I did it. So yeah, and I honestly, my streams aren't chaotic or anything, but it's really nice to have them there just in case anything was to happen.
Absolutely.
Of course, you've been a good gatekeeper for your own channel by telling people what shouldn't be here and like keep out the negativity. And I think that people do talk about that. Like, we can't go here to troll. Like, you're the one that's taking the trolls out, and that's amazing. And because it is like, you can feel the vibe that you're getting from you, and even at the beginning. So I think it's incredible that you get these modders that want to push the same view as you. And I'm curious, because I know you have a Discord and you have like Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. What has been one of your best social medias that has helped push your YouTube outside of Twitch? Like, is there one that you specifically go to the most?
I'd probably say Instagram is probably the biggest help. I have a TikTok, but I don't utilize it like I should, just because I do not know how to edit TikTok videos. I need to learn. That's why I also don't post Instagram Reels or anything like that, or Shorts, because I don't, well, one, I don't know how to edit them. Two, I feel like my reactions are so different to a lot of people's, and a lot of people tend to talk over the song and have something to say when the song's playing. I'll say something, but most of the time I'll pause it and then say something, and I feel like that's not a really good short or a TikTok. So
I hear you.
But that's just me. I mean, I'm sure people wouldn't mind that. I mean, bands have taken snippets of my reactions and posted them. And, you know, but when I have paused and just put like their music on in the background. So it's just my own personal insecurities with it. But I think Instagram's probably been the most helpful, just because most people are on Instagram, most bands are on Instagram. You've got the stories, you know, and and then I post every day to Facebook, to Twitter, to Instagram when a reaction comes out. So I try and utilize them all. But I'd say I probably spend most of my time on Instagram, just because I'm nosy. I like looking at people's stories. I like looking, you know, seeing what they're doing and connecting that way. And I always tell people, if you want to get a hold of me, either email me or send me a message on Discord or Instagram. That's the easiest way you're gonna get me. So,
and she'll react to you if you're not a robot.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, or you just don't say oi.
Don't say oi. But I think that's really it's really smart, because as people are trying to grow, they need to realize that you need to make yourself sound like a good choice to even interact with, because there's so many people that you could interact with. And I know the artist that never got back to me, it was when I was too generic with it. But then when you put the passion in and you say why, like, my community would love it if you came on because of this and that, and you add a bit more, it's really smart. So I'm glad that you take that same approach. And also thanks for being on for so long. And we got one more question. Okay, and this is a really awesome one that we found out for you. How did it feel to be nominated for YouTube Channel of the Year in 2022 by MTM Reacts Viewers Awards, and then winning it?
I cried both times.
Oh my gosh, right?
Just because there are so many much more bigger channels in there.
Tank the Tech,
Nick Nocturnal, Orion, just to name a few. And then there are other people that I watch, and I didn't even think I would get nominated in something like that, let alone win it. But that just goes to show how amazing my community is. Honestly, they did that. And it was a huge thing. It was crazy. I didn't think I would ever get nominated for it. I didn't think I would ever win it. When I found out I was nominated, I was like, are you kidding? I'm in this lineup? Like, really? Wow, seriously? Right? Yeah, just blown away, just completely gobsmacked, speechless, honestly. The first person I told was my husband, obviously. Of
course.
And then I think we were actually away in Florida when the voting was happening. So I was trying to like promote while enjoy time with the family at the same time.
Yeah.
So I just honestly, I posted maybe once or twice about it, and then just left it to whoever was going to win. And then I won. And when MTN told me, I was like, are you sure you've read that right?
Right. Recount the votes.
Yeah, you need to go back and look at it. But yeah, he told me and couldn't believe it. So yeah.
Wow. And to me, what that says is there's not enough reactors that are being themselves And that's, I think, your biggest niche is you could tell right off the bat that you're gonna get Tori no matter what. If I am not ready to come here, I'm not gonna come here. I'm only coming when I'm ready. I'm not here to promote negativity. What's coming out is going to be positive, and people really want to be a part of that. And that's why we're just so happy to be a part of your journey as well. And to see how happy that made you feel, because like you're saying, you're so hard on yourself. So to get something like that can validate you and hold on to that, because you're worth it, and keep going. And like, again, you've made me want to do interviews, by the way, watching what your Tori talks is why we're having a conversation right now. So and it's incredible. And I've been a reactor lover for like 5-6 years before I became a reactor myself. So I have all those people I want to check out. But since being a reactor, you and Rosalie are the two ladies that I have been kind of paying attention to, just to motivate myself. I've had older sisters my whole life, so I connect better with the older ladies that can say things a bit more to the point. And it's just amazing. And it's overwhelming to think about, because I know you started in 2019, that's 2022, so that's like 3 years into your journey. And just to think how far you've gone. And I mean,
not just that, just building my own confidence as well with it. And I have a hard time being a creative, because I do have what is called aphantasia. I don't know if you know what that is.
No, what's that?
It's where, so a lot of people, when they think, they'll have pictures and stuff form in their brain, their mind's eye. I don't have that. There's nothing there. Like if I ask you to think of a horse, you think of it, but you'll also be able to tell me what color it is, what it's, if it's laying down, if it's standing up, if it's whatever, if it's got a saddle on, if it's whatever. But I know what a horse looks like, obviously, but I don't, there's nothing in there that, it's very dark in there. There's nothing, like, of course I still have the inner monologue, which I found out some people don't even have that.
So that surprised me when I found that out. I was like, what?
Yeah. But that's why I put a lot of trust into like my tattoo artist per se, because I know what I want, but I can't picture it. I put it together. I even tried doing like a little design before I sent her all my references, but she knows that about me. She knows that, I fully trust her 100%. I mean, you have to with tattoo artists anyway.
Yeah, of course.
But like with thumbnail design and just being artistic in that sort of sense, I have a very hard time with it. Whereas like my sister is very artistic. She does digital art. She did all the artwork for my channel, for my Twitch.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so
looks
she
amazing.
did all of, thank you. She's brilliant. She actually went to college for game design. It's a big passion of hers, and she's a phenomenal artist. And there's an up and coming band called Anoxia. I don't know if you've checked them out. I just did the live stream last night
I saw that.
for the full album. Crystal like completely trusted, like that made me emotional that somebody would trust me with their master, and it's not even out yet. It doesn't come out till the 8th.
Wow.
It's not even out yet. And she asked me and Old School Nerd if we would do a review. And first I said no, because I'm not comfortable with doing reviews, just because I'm not technical. It's just my emotions.
Yes.
And I think it's better, it comes across better in a video rather than me just sat here, saying my emotions. So first I said no, and then Old School Nerd was like, well, I'm just going to do an album listen through. And I was supposed to jump on his stream, but then we literally got to the first song and we had a huge thunderstorm and my power went out.
Oh my gosh.
No.
So I had to reschedule, but it doesn't matter, because that gets more views for Crystal and Anoxia. But if you definitely check. I think you would like them too. They're an up and coming band. I think they've only got just over 1,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Good to know.
But she just, that trust she put into me, and then she asked me if I knew any digital artists. So I pointed her in the direction of my sister, and now my sister has drawn some designs for her, and like even on the merch package she's got coming out, there's a little button that my sister drew. So
that's so cool. Wow.
That's a little fact that I have a hard time with. Like, and I also struggle with dyslexia too. So and that especially in thought and talking, sometimes my brain is a bit faster than my mouth.
Right.
So I trip up a lot on my words, and that's why I'm also down on myself a lot too. But
right.
with the channel and talking to people like you, or just doing the interviews and being able to talk passionately about something that I'm passionate about. You know, of course, I don't personally play an instrument, though I have tried a couple. But I don't personally play anything. I just always have had an affinity for music. As a child, my mum would sit me down in front of Disney's Fantasia, and I would just sit there for hours and hours and hours on end and just listen to it. And that's why I love symphonic metal, because it brings that element in to rock music. So
it does, and that means that actually elaborates so much as to why music is your lifeline. And because if you're not getting attracted to, say, like painting and art as much, or drawing, you can just close your eyes and listen to music
and have your emotions pull you through that ocean of what you're going through.
So that makes a lot of sense. And that also, but everyone's insufficiencies, or whatever you want to call it, is what's attractive about a person and what makes you unique. So even though that could be your superpower, right?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, it's those little things that make you personable, and it makes you approachable, and it makes you human. Like, you're not just somebody who's sat in front of a camera. And you know, a lot of these influencers try and be perfect, and nobody's perfect. So
no one's perfect.
I don't ever want to put that across, because I don't want people to have, like, try and live up to those standards either. I want people to be approachable. I want my community to be able to approach me at any time. And you know, a lot of the time, even now, they're still amazed when I even reply, because I know a lot of people don't take the time to do that.
Yes.
Which is sad. And I understand people have full-time jobs, and they have kids, and they work, and you know, it's a lot of to do. But even if it's just a hey or hello, how are you doing, just a quick 5 minutes just of your time just to give to your community, it's something, and they appreciate that. So, but I've always made it clear that I am married, because this is the internet.
Yes.
And you know, I'm sure you probably get messages now and then too, but
before I met Kyle, I started streaming live on Twitch. And when you're single and trying to stream and trying to be on the internet, it's a very crazy world out there of the messages people send publicly.
Yes.
Jeez.
I mean, I still get, you know, on my selfies and stuff that I post, I still get a lot of comments from males a lot, of course. And I just heart it and say thank you and move on from it. I'm not gonna encourage anybody, because obviously I'm happily married. And but I even now, because at home, when my husband and I get home, we both take our wedding rings off, just because we're more comfortable that way. But like when we go out, we'll put them on. So I always make sure I've got it on in my videos, just so if people see my hand, they see it.
You hope they'll connect the dots,
right? But of course, sometimes that doesn't work. But
well, this has been lovely. Something you already gave us a little bit of criticism, constructive criticism, or just some tips. Is there anything that you would give from this interview, or from any of the reactions that you have seen, that you think would help us in our community? And it sounds like talking to your community members is really important too, which I'm trying to do as much as I can, but I can do more for sure.
Honestly, I think the most important thing is just to remain yourselves, just to continue doing what you're doing. Honestly, I find your videos very approachable. I find you're very genuine with what you're saying. You know, we all have our own way of reacting. My personal way is to pause during the song, and I know you guys don't do that. I know you guys like to, you know, of course, get to the end and then you have your discussion, and it helps when you've got two people to do that. Whereas if I let a song play, I'm just going to forget what I want to say. People think that I pause for copyright issues, and it's not that. It's just because my brain will just literally focus on something else and forget what I wanted to say in that moment. So that's why I pause. But just continue being yourselves. If you do want to start live streaming, I would probably do it the way I'm doing it, just because it's the easiest way I found. It's I get people to send, I do it through PayPal. It's just the easiest way.
Nice. Okay.
I have like a business PayPal set up, and the link for that is on the spreadsheet, or like in my little about me section, the panels on Twitch. It's down in there, and then they can click on that and then send the money that way. And I asked them to send the name of the band, the song title, the band, and then the link to the YouTube, so that I can just quickly copy and paste it into my spreadsheet. And I'll give you guys, you can look at my spreadsheet. You can even copy and paste it into, make it your own, and do it that way. And then that's like 2 hours of good quality stream time. I think that's about enough time. I think so. Anything over that is a bit too much. People obviously will come and go, and not everybody's going to be able to stick around for even just 2 hours. So 2 hours is a long time. It is a long time, and it's nice to do, and I really enjoy doing it. And I personally do it during the day, just because a lot of my community are Europeans and are in that are in that time difference. So I usually start at like 2 p.m. Like we started this interview at 2 p.m. my time. And so I do it for 2 hours. I'm usually done by 4, which is about an hour later my husband is home, so I'm not missing out on, spending the evening with him. So it just, honestly, I don't really have much advice for you guys other than just continue what you're doing. I think you're doing a brilliant job. I think you're connecting with your audience. I think you're genuine, approachable people, and this interview has been really nice, and we've been going for almost 2 hours, and it hasn't felt like that at all.
Great. How's your back doing?
It's okay. It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have enough for a reaction still?
Yeah, I can do a reaction. Yeah.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah, I go to the chiropractor. Like, I used to go every 2 weeks, but we missed out for like 3 months just because we got so crazy with travel and stuff. So I definitely felt it a bit more. But yeah, I started going back, so I noticed a difference.
Okay, well, before we go,
I was just gonna say I have a small like curvature in my spine, that's why, and it pushes on that sciatic nerve all the time. So yeah, it's not like close enough to be like what's the word,
crippling, or
no, like there's like a term for when you truly have like a curve.
Scoliosis.
Yeah, that's it. It's not enough to be that, but it's enough to where like it affects my daily life. So
okay. Well, thank you for giving us all this time. And before we move on to our members only reaction, I want to ask you, what's the best way to support you? Obviously, we can go and subscribe to your YouTube channel, check out your Twitch, your Instagram, but is there any way else that we could help you out?
Honestly, that's pretty much it. There's my YouTube channel, my Twitch channel. Of course, the YouTube channel is free. Twitch you can follow for free, but then you have those pesky ads. But I'll never like beg anybody to subscribe to me. I'm just, if you want to subscribe, you can subscribe. I'll always appreciate that support. I've got Facebook, I've got Instagram, Twitter. And that's pretty much it, really, for like social media stuff. I do have a TikTok, but I don't really utilize it for what I should utilize it for. I'm more of a scroller on there. I enjoy the content people put out on there. It's a good time waster for me. But yeah, that's pretty much about it. Oh, I do have a Discord if you want to come join and hang out. I don't keep anything behind a paywall or anything like that. So yeah, pretty much it.
That's amazing. Something else I wanted to ask is, do you have any merch or anything that people can buy?
I used to have merch, but I've taken it down just because so my friend, one of my mods, was doing it for me. He had like an Amazon store, but unfortunately his health has gotten pretty bad to where it's not really looking good. Honestly, I don't want to delve too deep into it because that's his personal business, but so I asked, he's trying to transfer his like Amazon. He's got a big like Amazon t-shirt business thing, and he's done it for a couple of other reactors and people. Right. But he's just at that point where he can't really do it anymore, and he's in the middle of transferring it to his daughters, and I just didn't want any like copyright issues or anything to happen to my design. So I just asked him to take it down from there just in case, and I just haven't found anywhere to put it just yet.
Fair enough.
So my sister designed that too. My Tauri and cat t-shirt, she drew that for me. So I want to get it back up there, and I would love to put more merch out there, but I'm one of those people, if I have too much going on with so much like I've got money coming in from YouTube or PayPal or whatever, it's just it's a
crazy.
lot.
Yeah.
So it's a lot to keep up with, and so I just need to find somewhere to put it and get it up there, but I will eventually. I'm a bad procrastinator. Like I need to.
You're juggling enough stuff though right now, right?
Yeah. Well, there's the channel, and then you've got to have your personal life with that too. You can't have your focus 100% on the channel, because then you're going to miss out on what's going on in your life. So
yeah,
that's why that is another thing I will say is, when you film reactions, do you just do them every day? Like, do you film them every day, or do you film like in advance, like a couple in advance?
Honestly, when we do react, it's usually 4 in a row, and then we put all 4 out the next day, and then we kind of just go in a sequence. So some days we don't have most of the days we do though. So
I wouldn't put 4 out every single day.
Okay.
Like I'd limit it to maybe 2 or 1 per day, just because the algorithm, if you do more than 2, then it's just not going to push you out there.
Okay.
Oh, that's good to know.
Good to know.
Yeah. So, but because I do film I film like 4 or 5 videos in advance, but then I'll like put them out just 1 per day, so that I still have content coming out. But then it's just sometimes, like, just with the YouTube algorithm, it just won't, if you've got too much coming out, it's just not going to push you out there.
That makes sense.
So
overload
I think Old School Nerd does 2 a day. I do 1 a day. Sometimes, rarely, I'll do 2 a day. It just depends if something comes out and I really want to get it out that same day, then I'll try and edit and get it up that same day. But for the most part, I just do 1 per day, and I think people will appreciate just the 1 per day, even if you film in advance. I used to care about that. In the beginning, I used to like film in advance, but halfway through I would go change my shirt so it looked like I was filming on a different day.
Right. Smart.
Yeah. But now if I've got stuff coming out when I'm wearing all the same thing, people understand you've got a life. You can't, you can't. I know some people do get up and they film every day, and they film and they edit and they get it up every single day. I just can't do that. I'm not that kind of person. If I need a day where I wake up and I don't feel like putting makeup on, I'm not comfortable going on camera without makeup, just because I do have a lot of insecurities, but also like in my family genetics, on my grandma's side, we do have a lot of like heavy pigmentation under our eyes. So it looks like I'm tired all the time, or it looks like and I'm very pale anyway.
Yes.
So I definitely look like a sick Victorian child without makeup on. So I just don't want my face out on the internet looking that way, and having the trolls coming in and commenting on that too. That's like, if I don't feel like putting makeup on, but I've still got content coming out, then it doesn't matter. So
less is more, but consistency.
Yeah. I think that's my only like piece of advice that I would give, is just try not to, because some channels do bombard and do put out a lot every single day, and they do, of course, eventually they'll get out there. But I think you're going to get burnt out from doing that. And I think it's a good idea, especially because you've got a young baby and
a 13-year-old as well.
And so we do a lot of our recording around when our 13-year-old can babysit our 5-month-old.
Right. So
it's tough.
Yes.
It's just, I would limit it to 1 or 2 per day, and then just have maybe like either do them one after the other, like an hour in between, or bring one out at 10 o'clock and one out at 2 p.m., so that different times, so that you're not bombarding the algorithm, and you can, because I don't know how people do it. They're doing like 5 videos per day, and I'm like, how do you have the energy to do that and you're not burning out from it?
Well, like Highly Combustible Reacts, which is our first person we interviewed, he did 16 a day for the first year, and he still does 8 a day.
Yeah.
And he's never stopped. So like, but that is incredible, and like so much effort. And we do have like Patreon requests as part of our tiers. So like we actually have a certain amount there, a quota essentially a month that we have to try to get out. where we have to almost do 2 to 3 a day if we're going to keep up with that. So this is very enlightening to hear your side of things and how you think it does working forward, because I think we have had moments where we've burned out a little bit because we're pushing too much out. And I think it would be wise, even like you're saying, spread out when you do the reaction, not do 4 in a row, but like if you're doing 2 in a day, to maybe do it 4 hours apart, so that you have that genuine excitement through each one and give it your full for every one of them.
So Tara, you do pay attention to analytics because you know how the algorithm works.
I only know because I watched Tank the Tech and he's talked about it before. And, you know, now he's to the point where he can do videos every other day, or like every one video every 2 days or something like that. And that's what he's like, if I do too much, then the algorithm's it's not gonna pick it up. And he's at the point where he's getting like 20, 30, 40,000 views on each video that comes out, you know, or even more. So you know, you just gotta trust like the bigger channels like that. And so I mean, just for your own mental health as well, I know what it's like to have like obviously younger children around and trying to take care of them, and then your own well-being. And then I don't know if you guys like work full-time or if this is your full-time job, but
I'm on maternity leave at the moment, so this has
become my full-time job.
Right. So, and even if it is your full-time job, you just don't want to get to that point where you're like, I don't want to do this anymore, because it's always going to be a passion. Music is always going to be a passion. That's why we start reaction channels. So that's why I went easy on myself in the beginning, and now I'm at the point where if I don't have content coming out that day, then it doesn't matter. It's not a big deal. You know, people are still going to show up for when I do have it. So
well, thank you. You had a lot of good advice there, and we're going to take a lot of that to heart, because we've been considering retooling and all that. So you give us a lot of tools to work with. We're excited to see how to work with the Twitch and all that, because we're actually excited to get back to Twitch too, because I think there's a lot that Twitch can give. And I know like Eileen Senpai and a lot of these other reactors use Twitch, I think from the beginning, and they're just like kicking butt. So it's definitely something to look into. And we just appreciate your warmth and your modesty and your honesty this whole interview. And I don't know what else to say, but thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure. And yeah, I really like connecting with people who enjoy the same thing. And I just thank you for asking me. Honestly, it's nice to be the interviewee instead of the interviewer.
Yeah, how was it being the interviewee?
It was nice. It was nice. I could relax a little bit more. I didn't feel like I had a lot of pressure to have to have good questions and you know, and I think it's been pretty natural. So
I sure think it has. But now we are going to exit the rabbit hole, folks. Thank you so much. This was Story Time with ETC, with Tori Reacts. This is episode number 5. Hope you guys had a good time with us. It looks like Tori had a good time in Canada with us too.
Peace and love, everyone. Thank you for joining us.
God bless y'all.
Take care and bye for now.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more Enter the Chronicness.
Special thanks to all of our YouTube, Patreon, and Buy Me a Coffee members. Thank you for all of your support.